we are probably going to look at right here. Actually, let me drop a line right here. Once we cross above this area here that we can take, and I'm going to make this green for entry, right? We're looking at a, let me grab another text box. Here we go. We are looking at a buy stop, okay, at, hey everyone, the professor here, and welcome to our Sunday crude oil analysis video. We're going to walk you through the entire process. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all of you who come here every Sunday and watch these videos. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the members in our trading club. We're doing some phenomenal things as well. But let's go ahead and get right into the analysis. Now, I just want to start here at the monthly time frame. A lot of folks don't spend time just kind of taking a look at where we are, and the price action. And something pretty interesting here on the monthly is that we've come up now twice exactly to basically $75 a barrel on this trading view chart. Okay. And we've rejected it. Now, it doesn't mean we're going to stay rejected, but just as a reference point, we've kind of been there on 2 occasions now, right? And we have rejected that. Now, my overall opinion is, I believe we are going to finish the month. As you can see here, we are currently in green, right? Even if we have a little bit of a retracement, I think we're going to stay green for the rest of this month. Okay. As you can look over here, we've had, right, 1, 2, 3 months of a drop. I think we'll stay positive in the month that we are currently in January. I think we'll close in a positive, and that's just kind of where we are at right now with crude oil and everything happening globally as well when it comes to crude oil. So just a quick look at the monthly here where we have been with regards to price action. We're not going to mark anything up, but I wanted just to give you a perspective because, again, the bigger money is traded on monthly and weekly institutional trading versus most of us who are retail trading or intraday trading on the smaller time frame. So, what we definitely want to do here is we want to go ahead and walk you through now the weekly and on down. I'm going to be giving you zones. And if you stay into the end of the video, we're not only going to talk about the gap, but there's the possibility that I'm going to set up some buy stops or sell stops based on what we see on the lower time frame to kind of get you going into the week. Okay, so let's go ahead and get back into the analysis here. And now let's drop over to the weekly to kind of see what's been happening. And again, if you look at the weekly, and again, this is why you've got to spend a lot of time on the weekly, we can see here that we kind of have been in this little consolidation area right in here on the weekly. Okay, so if we kind of go up to the high and go up to the low, this does give us a nice little parameter into where we can trade on these smaller time levels. Okay, so we've kind of been right in here. We've been to this low of 69.30, let's say, and we've been to this high of about 76.17 over the course of the last 5 weeks. So we've kind of been trading in this box. So I'm going to kind of keep us there for now. So as we drop down, we can kind of see where we are in relation to the other time frames. So as we drop now into the daily, you can begin to see that we have a beautiful trading area that's kind of been giving us these sell and buy opportunities on the smaller time frames. And when I say smaller, even the 4-hour and the 1-hour, and we have been able to take advantage of that. So it's so important as you are, mapping out maybe your week, or you're looking at your trading style. I always love to start at the higher time frame because then it gives you a little bit of perspective where we've been, where we might go, and you have basically some working boundaries so you don't get stuck in a bad trade, whether you're a swing trader or an intraday trader, understanding support and resistance, because 90% of crude oil trading is really based on support and resistance. And then we add some Fibonacci and some other technicals in there as well. So as we kind of dive deeper into this chart here, we now have a working area that we are working from. And so if we look at the last day right in here. Okay, let's kind of focus in right here on this red candle for a minute. Okay, and then we draw a fib level from this low to this high on the last day. You can see that we perfectly, okay, rejected that 61.8 Fibonacci level. And that's important to note. That's important to note because if you kind of take a look at this candle here, let me kind of move this arrow here. But if you kind of take a look at what happened here, and then you go over here, you kind of look at what happened here, right? We did have a longer wick, but wick, smaller body, lower wick, right? We're seeing some of the same uh, price action that happens from time to time. And so we begin to look at where price kind of has been going on the daily time frame. Okay. So we did, if we start off from this low down here, right? And then we go up here to a kind of a high, and then we kind of go up here to kind of a low, and then we kind of go up here to a high. Okay. You know, it all intents and purposes is we did not close above this level right in here yet. But once we close, and that's about 73.88, then that is going to take us to a much higher time frame. I mean, much higher price per barrel on crude oil. We should be seeing 74s and 75s. Okay, once we get that candle closure above this line here, we can see here that that has acted kind of like resistance, right, up in the top. And then eventually we had a candle here to just shoot across and go much higher, right? Will that be the case up in here? We're going to be looking at that on the smaller time frame here in just a minute. So some perspective as price action where we might be going. Again, indications are that if once we close above 73.88, and it might just be a 4-hour candle, okay, then we might be going higher. Okay. So now that we've kind of looked at that perspective there, let's go ahead and drop over into our 8-hour chart because here we begin to really fine tune our supports, our resistance, and we're going to begin to mark this up. So, what I'm going to encourage you to do is to follow along with me now. If you look up in the upper left hand corner of the chart and you want to use the exact same chart that I am using, feel free to do so. But again, this will correlate the same price action, whether it's on my futures chart or on TradingView. You want to find the same price action on your charts. And that's really what's important. I trade this both on futures and on regular Forex, but the price action on both of my charts are pretty much exactly the same. So let's get back into the chart here. Let's kind of take a look at a couple of big points here. Number one is that has been our high, and this has been our low. So we kind of have a working area, and we'll actually even, yeah, we're going to kind of keep this relative, okay? Because this was back in January 3rd. So we want to keep it relative to where we are at right now, okay? Now what we want to do is we kind of want to look at this focal point, right? We had multiple touches there. We want to kind of bring it on down to where we can see multiple touches in just areas. We're going to be cleaning this up here in just a minute. So we can kind of just begin to basically lay the foundation for where we are at. Okay. And then we'll add one more here to the bottom side. So just kind of lay the foundation of where we are at, because as we bring it down, we're going to take a look at a couple of interesting things. Now, here, if we just take this perspective, this is probably going to validate right about that 61.8 area or so that we talked about. Okay. So here on a smaller time frame, which is the 8-hour, you can see that we did go deeper into the fib levels, but we ended up closing above the 61.8. Okay, this is part of the reason why I believe that, we may start low or higher in the gaps. We don't know, but this is why I believe we are going to we have a good chance of revisiting 74 to 75 up here this week. Okay. And we'll obviously price action will dictate that, but that's where I believe we're going to end up towards the middle, or if not the end of the week. Okay. So now what I want to do is drop over to the 4-hour chart. and begin to kind of give you some real trading zones just based on what we have here. So I'm going to wipe this out again. Okay. And if you want like a little, technique, what I like to do sometimes is take over the candles, go over here to this button here and bring it on down to the line candle, because that takes out a lot of the noise. And then what you can do is just find the touch points where you see as you go down, where you can see touches to the bottom and the top. So if you look over here, we have a top, we have a bottom, we have a top. So we're going to kind of drop one in there. And again, we fix these as we move forward. Here we can see multiple touches, bottom, top, top. So we're going to basically drop one there. And then we're going to go ahead and come on down. And we can see here, we've got some rough areas right in there. And then we'll pick one more that's relative for the beginning of the trading week. And that's right there. Then we'll turn our line chart back over to candles. And then we've got a working chart to begin with regards to where we are right now. So now that we are on the 4-hour chart, right, we can see that we are kind of at a level, which is about 73.50. Okay, we can see 73.50 kind of as a level. If you look over to the left, right, we can just begin to see that we've had this level here act as previous resistance on multiple occasions. So again, it just validates that we are pretty close to a good area. Remember that zones are never an exact line, okay, but they are an area. They are an area. So now we're going to make this a little bit bigger. On the 4-hour time frame, we had a wick reject about 50% of this candle, okay? And so that now creates where are we going to open with regards to the gap. And again, the gap is going to be formed right here, but we're going to mark that up on the lower time frame. So if you look at this right here, okay, we are low, right? We had a high, we had a low, we had a high, and then we had a low, right? So the big question is going to be, are we going to get a candle up here to create a new high, right? Or are we going to start walking this down? So, we obviously have to wait, but we are going to have our areas of support and resistance to guide us along the way. Okay. So this is just another way that you begin to walk down price from different time frames and start giving yourself some perspective on the long-term moves, right? Price action, which is what the candles are doing, will dictate where price goes. But we have to have a game plan going in so we know whether we're going to sit on the buy side or are we going to sit on the sell side, right? And that's the beauty that we can decide. And if you are with a like regular Forex broker, that you can both buy and sell, sometimes it's advantageous. You might be buying in the first half of the day, and then you might be selling on the second half of the day. So that's going to be super, super important. And just with that in mind, this is one of the advantages of trading in a community where you have hundreds of people trading the same thing, looking at the same charts. So I'm going to invite you to, at some point during this video, if you're on your laptop or desktop and you have the ability to scan the QR code above my head here, take a look at our trading club. Come in and join the over 120 traders who are pretty much focused in on crude oil, some natural gas traders, some indice traders, some gold traders, but crude oil is the bread and butter. And so we're all talking about it during the day, and you're going to find huge advantages to trading in a community, or you can go down to the link in the video description and check it out for less than $1 a day. I guarantee you, once you see what we're doing in there, how we're trading live in there in the app, the community, how engaged and involved I will be with you. Hopefully you're going to rave just like the many others are raving about the experience, about the attention, and about the leadership that we're seeing in there. So you decide if it's a good fit for you. You can cancel anytime. There's no commitment. There's no contracts. Just good people doing good things. That's all we're doing about. So hopefully you can check it out. So let's go ahead and go back into here now and take a look at where we are at. So let's now drop into the 1 hour. So I'm going to start giving you now some perspectives about what I may be looking for, and I'm going to give you some possible orders to take a look at. So we are kind of in this area right in here. And so what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to label this. This is going to be our gap, meaning that is where price closed. Okay. And one of the things that we focus on inside of our group is, and this is why we're having so much success, 20 pips or ticks at a time. Okay. And when I say that, after 20, you want to secure profits or protect, because oil moves very quickly. And at the end of the day, okay, at the end of the day, listen, you've got to do what is best for you and your family. But if you want to grow an account, and we have a 20 pip challenge going on right now, we're starting it this week in our group. I created an Excel file for everybody so you can document your journey. You can write it down. It does all the math for you. So again, if you join the app, you're going to get that growth chart given to you right away. It's out for 1 year. It's going to tell you exactly what your profit levels are. This is what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to challenge people. We're going to hold people accountable. Maybe that's what you need. If you have not had success in trading, it's because maybe you haven't had someone hold you accountable. And then we are going to do this daily inside of our trading app. So we're looking for 20 pips. We're looking for 20 ticks, depending on the platform. So we want to be able to give you that, and we give you that daily inside of our platform. So by looking at this gap, by looking at the price action, right, the first thing I would tell you is we are probably going to look at right here. Actually, let me drop a line right here. Once we cross above this area here that we can take, and I'm going to make this green for entry, right? We're looking at let me grab another text box. Here we go. We are looking at a buy stop, okay, at 73.65. Let me make this a dot. And we are looking at TP1 for our 20 pip challenge at 73.85. So that's going to be our first on the buy stop side. We're going to take a buy stop here. We're going to take an impulsive move, candle up to look at 73.85 as our first 20 pip challenge. We're going to make that blue. And let me go ahead and click this here. I've only had 1 cup of coffee this morning so far. We're aiming to our second. So we are going to do our first buy stop right in here. So we're going to look for an impulsive move back up into the zone to give us our first opportunity for our 20 pip challenge on a buy level. Okay, on a buy level. Now, if you're asking, well, am I going to do a sell level down here? Right now, I'm not going to, because of the fib levels, right? The next sell opportunity, or next, I'm sorry, buy opportunity would have to happen way down here. We are going to try to avoid trading somewhere in the middle, right? So to me, the sell is a lot more trickier because I don't have an area. This is a zone that it could be rejecting right in here. So we're going to be looking for that impulsive move up for our first buy stop. And if it comes crashing down, then we're going to wait, and then we'll drop down to these levels, and then we'll look for our next entry. So this is going to be kind of an area that we are looking at for our first impulsive move for our 20 pip challenge that we are starting inside the app this coming Monday. Okay, so that is the perspective from the 1 hour. And if we drop over to the 15-minute, and again, why I like keeping these circles here, okay, is because it shows you the price action. And again, we can see here that we are in a zone here, right? There's a very good chance that we're going to reject this zone here, but you can see here now why on the 15-minute chart, once we get a candle closure, right, an impulsive candle to come up, it could just be one candle that hits our 20 pip. In the meantime, we don't know the direction of this. We do have previous resistance up in here. So we're going to wait to see if price possibly falls down. And then our next buying area for oil would not be until we reach down around the 72.50 area. Okay. We will let price coming down, and we're just going to let it reject. We're not going to take this intermediate rejection here because it's on a smaller time frame. We're going to come back down to our larger time frame support and resistance areas where we have proven areas that have given us massive pips or points coming up on a stronger level. We're not going to take this level, even though you can see here that this is a level, right, on a 15-minute chart. Okay, we're going to avoid trading in between these levels. We're going to get better entries along the way. So that's a methodology for that. We're either going to take the impulsive buy at the break, or we're going to let price come down and then take the next better buy off different fib levels. And again, we'll update you in the app as we go each and every hour as we are moving and trading together as a community. So that's kind of the perspective with the actual gap right now. And again, if we gap down to the bottom, that would be awesome, right? Because then that would give us price maybe coming down to our zone and then coming back up to fill the gaps. Now, one thing I do want to mention real quick is, gaps have changed the way they close from, previous years. Gaps now sometimes can take a lot longer. Those of you in natural gas, there's been a gap for 2 weeks, for example. Now, oil typically does not stay that long, but keep in mind that if you are going to enter any major gap trade, and for me, it's got to be 50 cents or more, 50 pips or more in price difference to enter my first smaller entry for gap. You got to understand that that opportunity can stay open for a few minutes, for a few hours, for a few days, or in some cases, a few weeks. Very rare, but understand that if you do take a gap trade, you should be in a position of saying, what if I had to hold this trade for a week or two? Can I? It's unlikely, but that's the kind of mindset and lot size that you need going into that. You do not want to overtrade or over lot size a gap that can have you in serious drawdown for a couple of days if you're not prepared to do so based on your account size and your risk management. So, I consider gap trades kind of like, the whipped cream on that perfect ice cream that you like or cake, right? You'll get those profits, but it may not happen right away. Okay. So just under leverage it, take it as a little extra income. Gaps will close on crude oil, but understand that they've been staying open a little bit longer than usual with regards to the trading platforms. So let's kind of wrap this up here inside of the chart here. So we have our gap. We have our two possible scenarios. If we do gap to the top side, then again, you might see price, shoot up. And then, of course, it'll come back down to close the gap. So everything is pointing to, okay, if we look here, even at this 15-minute level, and again, if you've got to mark up this level, hopefully you paused the video before, right? If we come back down into this 72.50 area, then we'll be looking to buy again to conquer our goal as we do a daily 20 pip challenge, right? Or we're going to take the impulsive move up. And you can see here that 74.50 has been a beacon for an area that's been hit on multiple occasions. And of course, what will tell us if we're going higher, once we get that candle to close above 74.50, we're going to see if price rejects, comes back into this area, and then gives us our next push back up towards 76. And inversely, the same thing happens here, right? Are we going to get a candle closure on a 1 hour time frame, not a 15, to bring us down into 71? That's all the things that we discuss daily, hourly inside of our group. And of course, our members will be updated every step of the way. Okay, so I hope you got some value in today's video. If you did, it's Sunday. So again, this is going to change throughout the week. We'll update you in the zones in the app. So again, hopefully you'll get some value there. But if you got some value on this video, you can hit that like button for me, as you saw before, scrolling at the bottom here, right? It is an opportunity for you to do something nice. Hit the like button. And if you're brand new to the channel, check it out. We focus primarily on crude oil. We're not all over the place, but inside of the app, we are giving you trade alerts for when the indices are ready, which they're going to be ready for a drop this week. And we are looking at gold. We've been doing very well with gold as well. But crude oil is number one. And then we follow along natural gas, very tricky, but we do have natural gas traders, so they're getting value in there as well. And natural gas, just FYI, does have a gap that's been open for 2 weeks. That should little by little begin to start heading up in that direction as well. So coming up on your screen here in just a few minutes, you're going to see a video popping up. Take a look at that. I did that SAR crude oil video to give you an opportunity to maybe learn a short new strategy that can help you on a higher time frame, especially for people that are busy at work. They work inside of offices, they can't be on their phones. This could be a way for you to get an alert of a start flip and get into a trade. I explain all of that in this video, so go check that video out now, and I'll see you inside that video. Have a great trading week.